Great to have you with us on another edition of the USF Football Radio Show. We've got a great win to talk about, and we've got a short week and another game coming up. So much to get to, Coach. Let's first of all talk about the win over Temple. And this one was one of those games where everywhere you look, there's an amazing statistic. Time of possession, rushing yards, some of the defensive accomplishments. This was quite a game. It had to feel great.
No, it did. And I was just really so proud of our guys and really happy for them, because I know myself and our staff know how hard these guys have been working this season. You know, we've been really, I think it was 12 weeks ago that we started fall camp. And obviously a lot of adversity and a lot of things to push through, and for them to continue showing up each and every day, trying to work hard to improve, to finally have a game where we were able to all put it together and really see what it looks like and what our potential can be when we play complementary football with our offense, helping the defense helping offense and special teams. It was just really good to finally be able to see that, and hopefully this will be something that'll give us some good confidence and momentum moving forward for a good second half of the season.
Coach, historically the games with Temple have pretty much always been like that sluggernaut type of matchup. You guys came into the game and won the game in the trenches. Was that the initial plan going in? Did you adjust as the game plan went on? I mean, obviously they have one of the best pass-ranked defenses.
Right.
But it was really good to see you guys just go out and win the matchup in the trenches against a historically known physical football team. Yeah, no, it was definitely
part of our game plan going in. I mean, obviously each and every week you want to talk about winning the game up front, offense and defensive line. But really going in with this matchup, we knew that it was going to be a physical game. It's always physical when you're playing Temple, and really challenged our offensive line. Obviously coming off the Tulsa game the week before and not being able to get it in 3rd and 1, 4th and 1 when we really wanted to, and when we have been able to be successful in those situations in prior games, it was a big focus. And our guys really went into the week with that plan. Obviously our offensive line is some of our more experienced players. They have great chemistry. It's really important to them. So to see them really kind of go take over the game was awesome. And then I'm really proud of our defense and defensive line, to be able to hold Temple to -1 yards rushing in the first half and 48 yards for the rushing for the total game. That's the lowest rushing total that we've given up since 2017. So I think that was a great overall performance by the guys on both sides of the line, and we're going to need them to continue to play that way and continue to improve because we got some big time matchups coming up here moving forward.
Key play of the game came early. Bulls getting set to try a field goal, high snap. Keyshawn Paul, who's one of the fastest guys on the Temple team, he's a defensive back, takes it on the dead run and gets run down by Chris Carter. And we've had a chance to take a peek at some of the things you said to the team about that play afterwards. I'm curious what you said to Carter as he came off the field in the moment after that play.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I didn't say much because right after that I was worried about getting the defense on the field and 1st and goal at the 5 and let's play this play. But I had some time to talk to him afterwards. But, to me, that play really is a great example of where this team is right now. And I told our guys that Sunday when we came back and watched. And, as I saw Chris starting, 15 yards behind this guy, and just giving the effort, not knowing if he's going to get there or not, but to lay it on the line. And I told the team, Chris actually reached 21.12 miles per hour, wow, which is the fastest Chris has ever ran. And it was actually the second fastest time for the entire day for our team. I think T.J. Robinson hit over 22 one time. But, to me, that just epitomized the heart that our guys have been playing with and really the determination to change what's been going on. And at some point to really kind of get over that hump, you have to make some of those extra effort plays. And so I think the combination of that play and then the defense to be able to go out when, the defense, really wasn't thinking that their first series of the game was going to be on the 5-yard line with first and goal at the 5. And for them, there wasn't anybody complaining or pointing fingers or palms up or anything like that. They literally went out there and played the series, and now we get an interception. We get the ball back to our offense. Offense goes down and scores. And, to me, that set, not only the tone for the rest of that game, I really believe that set the tone for the second half of our season. And that was kind of like that defining moment that we're going to be able to look back on, at the end of this year and say, that right there is when it all turned and when we were really able to get on the other side and really able to really take that next step forward. And, that was a big play. It could have been a 10-point swing, their way, and we ended up turning into a 14-point swing our way, keeping them from getting 7 and us going to get 7 on the other end.
Coach, you talk about how fast Chris Carter actually ran. I'm curious to know, what are you guys doing to track your players? Are you doing this only in the games or in practices as well? And what other parameters are you guys keeping up with to kind of gauge what your guys are doing on the field?
Yeah, it's incredible, the technology that's out there and the information that we're able to get. AJ Artis, our head strength coach, and his staff, one of our assistant strength coaches, Jordan Diaz, is kind of the director for our Catapult. And so Catapult is a company that is very popular across the country, college, NFL, high school, where, they put these GPS devices. They're really pretty small, probably about 1.5 inches in either direction, and they put it in a little sleeve that goes in their shoulder pads, and we wear them at practice. And there's a lot of things that we're able to track. Obviously, one thing the players always like to see is their speed. So it can be a water break. They're going to run over there to Coach Diaz and look on his iPad and see where they were on that last play. So that's kind of cool for the kids. But for us as coaches, we can see how many yards they ran during practice. You got guys like Xavier Weaver, that's running a bunch of routes, and you want to be sure, day by day that you're not, playing the game during the week and going too much. And so it can kind of alter their reps a little bit later in the week. And then also it can show us how many of their reps were kind of in their top 20% of their full speed. So if somebody's not giving full speed, it shows you that. And if other guys are being able to practice at full speed, there's gauges where you can see that. And so it gives us information for the coaches to be able to see. Sometimes when we're trying to see if someone's back, right, they're coming back from a hamstring or a knee, and they're saying they're back, but really what do the numbers say? What is the average speed compared to 2 weeks earlier when he was healthy? And, those are things that we track during a game or during practice, and then also on game day. And so we get that summary after every game, after every practice, and, something that really kind of helps us as we're making decisions. And also it's good for the players to be able to, we get a report to the players every night. They get a message with the daily report of kind of their numbers. And so it's definitely something that I've seen be really beneficial for us.
17-7 at halftime, and you come out for the third quarter, and the word we got was that Timmy was medically cleared to go and continue playing. You made the decision to not use him in the second half. What was the decision-making process, the mindset on that?
Well, the first thing was, Timmy sprained his ankle, and Timmy's a competitor. I mean, that's one thing you love about him. And when I think of some of the best players that I've coached and been around, they're guys that don't want to come off the field. And one guy that comes to mind is DeAndre Hopkins, who I had the opportunity to coach at Clemson. He was not going to come off the field, and his foot maybe broke, but you were going to have to pull him out, but he was not coming out. And Timmy's that kind of guy too. He's been banged up. He's been dealing with a hamstring. He's had some other ailments along the way. Just kind of playing in his first year and taking some big hits. But whenever he sprained his ankle there and was not able to run the way that he likes to do. He plays his game a certain way, and he really is able to make up some yards whenever the plays break down and those type of things. And so, rather than put him out there when we knew he wasn't full speed, I honestly thought it was a great opportunity to see Trey Marsh. Trey is a guy that's worked extremely hard. He's really gotten better from where he was a year ago, and he's done extremely well in practice. And I went and Charlie and I made that decision, and we told the team at halftime, hey, we're gonna let Q rest here the second half. We know we got another game coming up in 5 days, and Trey, hey, this is your turn. Let's go and lead the offense, and I thought he did a really good job with that.
Are you confident that, given the situation, if you have to go into a game, let's say Timmy doesn't make the progress, that you can go into a game and compete with Trey Marsh as your quarterback?
Yeah, I really feel that way about both Trey and Cade Fortin. I feel that we are fortunate that we have 3 quarterbacks that we can win with. Each of them are a little bit different. Each of them have their own kind of strengths and own part of their game. But I think we're in a really good position there. I also think it's good if you do have an injury like we had last week and to be able to get those guys some experience. And, we've been in a lot of really close games, and, it hasn't set itself up where we could, put those other guys in there. And so whenever, Timmy went down, it was an opportunity to let Trey and Cade play. But, yes, I am confident in both of those guys, and I'm really proud of the way they've responded with Timmy kind of taking the lead. And, it's so easy as a backup quarterback, if you didn't win the job, to kind of just slow down and not give great effort or want to quit and go get in the portal or do something else. And both of those guys, they show up every day working hard. And really my comfort level to go with Trey there in the third quarter was because of what I've seen at practice the last couple of weeks.
We saw the 3rd longest field goal in program history, 52 yards from Spencer Schrader. This guy's 9 for 9. It's 20 out of 20 on extra points. Guy that came here, walked on a couple of years ago, a soccer player in his youth, and he just gets it done every time he's out there. Here's one more thing, 35 kickoffs, 25 touchbacks. That's pretty impressive.
Absolutely. Spencer is very talented. When I got here last year, coming in trying to evaluate your roster and your team, I've been fortunate at my previous school to be around some good kickers, and I got here in the first week and watching spring practice and fall camp the next year. I said, man, this guy has got one of the most talented legs that I've ever seen. He has got a lot of power in his leg and also accurate. And I know, kind of early in his career, he kind of had to work through some of that, but I'm not surprised at all because this is what we see in practice. He's over 95% in practice, and that's backing up into the 50-yard range. And so this guy just has a tremendous combination of a strong leg, accurate leg. The ball also gets up, which is important when you try some of those long field goals. And then to be able to turn right back around and put the ball in the end zone, those are key plays, especially when you're dealing with years kind of where we are right now, where we've had some injuries and might not have the depth that we want at some positions. Well, the special teams are the ones that kind of somehow kind of get the short straw there, and maybe they don't have some of those starters on there. And so those are big plays for us when we can get a touchback and not have to defend every kick. So there's no doubt about it. He's my MVP through the first half of the season on special teams.
You had 2 key guys back, Christian Williams and Bryce Miller. Christian Williams did give up a long touchdown, but how would you gauge their productivity in the last game?
Yeah, and obviously Christian was kind of like, all right, welcome back. Here we go, right? And that's what happens. Being an offensive coach, I know when you see a new corner in the game, you go right after them. But, obviously we were disappointed about giving up that play. But what I know about Christian is, he has worked extremely hard to get back. The injury he's coming back from is one that, it could have been another 2 or 3 weeks. It really kind of is up to the individual and the player of how hard they want to push the rehab, how quickly do they want to get back. That's all part of it. And Christian's worked extremely hard to be able to get back and to be able to play. And he's going to get even better as his ankle continues to improve and get stronger. And you kind of go knock the cobwebs off a little bit. And but I've got a lot of confidence in Christian, and I think he's really going to be able to help us here moving forward, and again add some depth at the corner position that really we haven't had. He did some nice things, but obviously the one big play is the one that he wishes he could have back, and he'll continue to improve on. And then Bryce Miller, I feel like he's finally back to 100%. it was good for him to get some opportunities to go back as the punt returner with Weaver being held out because, we do need to get some experience there in case Weaver's not able to get back there every game, and then also to be able to see Bryce start getting back in the flow in offense, and he'll do that even more this week.
One more statistical note from a game that was filled with stuff like this. The Bulls did not punt. First time since 2009 they went through a full game without punting. Stay with us. More with Coach after this timeout on the USF Football Radio Network. Welcome back. The Bulls are home again November 6th against Houston. That's going to be homecoming, and we now have the starting time for that game. It'll be a 7:30 kickoff for the next home game, November 6th against the Houston Cougars. This week, it's a travel week, and it's a short week as the Bulls get set to go to Greenville, North Carolina to play East Carolina and coach these Thursday night games. Second one of the year for the Bulls. They kind of throw everything off.
Yeah, they're fun. I think, as a coach, you'd like to have a full week to prepare. But as a player, you're ready to go play. And I think coming off the win last week and just the momentum that we have, I like the fact that we're going and playing on Thursday night. And to get an opportunity, for our team and our program to get national exposure on ESPN. And that's really what I was talking to our players about. We've been working to improve and to get better. And now that we're really playing the best ball that we've played of the season, now the next step is to go on the road and get a good road victory. That's really the next step for where we are as a team in this program. So we're excited about it. But, yeah, we leave here pretty quickly on Wednesday morning. So we've changed some things around with our schedule, and we're going to be practicing in the evenings on Monday and Tuesday evening to really give our coaches and players time during the day to watch the film and to really kind of get the game plan down and maximize these 48 hours we have before we head up to Greenville.
Antonio Grier had another interception. He also had another sack. What can you say about the game he had? I know you guys got to spend some time and actually get the film graded, but is he playing as good from an execution standpoint as he is from a big play standpoint?
Yes.
Those things are totally different.
Yeah, absolutely he is, and he was one of our players of the game on defense this week. And what I told our team is I'm not surprised because every time that I was around him for the last day and a half before the game, we're traveling, he's on the bus, and he's got his phone right there, and he's watching the opponent video. And then we get up there, and we're at one of the meals on Friday night, and he's sitting there during the meal while he's eating. He's watching, the Temple video. Then we go to the movie Friday night, and he's sitting right in front of me during the movie, and he's sitting there going through watching Temple video. And so that's what I told the team on Sunday whenever he was player of the game. I said, I'm not surprised. This guy's putting in extra time. And that's what you have to do to really be a special player. And this, Sam, from being a player, you gotta put in a little bit extra. You can't just do the time that everybody does in the meeting room with the coach and go to the field. You got to be willing to do that a little bit extra, and that's what I've really seen from him. And also, we talked about it last week, he's finally healthy, and he got banged up early in the year with some tough physical games, right, for some of those teams we were playing, and that was some physical matchups. And so I think the open week really helped him probably more than anybody get his body back where he could be full speed and healthy, and I think we've seen what that's led to and the success that he's had these last 2 weeks.
On this short week, you have guys trying to bounce back from injury, most notably number 9, and you've got less practices to evaluate guys as they try to come back, so I'm thinking it's probably a lot of wait and see at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, especially with a quick turnaround when you have guys that are banged up. That was part of our reasoning of trying to hold Timmy there in the second half Saturday night. I would still say it's probably in question. Again, I think he's going to be cleared to be able to do some things tonight in practice. How much he can do, we'll have to wait and see whenever he gets out there. And ultimately, I think it's probably going to come down to a kind of a game time decision on Thursday. And you got to kind of see here over the next 2.5 days how well his ankle recovers, how his body kind of heals up, and if he's ready to go, then he'll go, and if not, we'll lean on the next guy. But I know he's going to work extremely hard, and we're looking forward to seeing what this week, how this week unfolds.
It seems that over time, multiple guys getting reps. You see more Kelly Joyner. Brian Petit has had his opportunities, but it seems like you have a three-headed monster or a running back by committee type of situation. How much more should we expect to see these guys, regardless of the strength of the opposing defense, whether rushing standpoint or passing standpoint, et cetera?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of our strengths of our offense is the depth that we have, the quality depth of players in that running back room. I think, we had 3 running backs over 75 yards, 2 running backs over 125 yards. So, as a coach, you love that. And it's not all about just one person. And the other thing I like is they each have their own skill set, right? And it's kind of, different tools in your tool belt, right, for your offense. And, Jaron has obviously had a really good year up to this point, coming in new and really kind of bought into what we're doing, and he's had success. Really was pleased to see Kelly. Kelly, I thought this was the best game that he's played, and he made some really good decisions running the ball and had some really good plays without the ball as well. And then also Brian Petit, he's a guy, obviously we saw him a week ago on the kickoff return, what he can do in space, and I thought he was able to go out and make some nice plays. And then even Darian Felix is coming back now, getting healthy, and he had a nice catch and run there too. So I think we're going to see more of the same here as we go over this last half of the season, and really trying to use those guys and their different skill sets to help our offense when needed.
After the game Saturday, you talk to the team, you go through the media stuff you got to go through. When things started to settle down, what was your phone like?
Yeah, I definitely got more text messages than I did after the other games. But, no, it was good. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been really encouraging and supportive, and really a lot of our fans and a lot of our donors that I've gotten to know here during my time here, they've really been supportive all year long. But I think, for everybody, it was kind of that sigh of relief, right, to be able to finally to get over that edge and kind of get that cloud off of us and see the sunshine a little bit, and just excited about where we are moving forward. Obviously, we're not pleased with our record and those type of things, but as a coach, what you want to see your team get better each and every week of the season. And I firmly believe that we've done that. And not only have we done it, we've done it through a lot of adversity, a lot of difficulty, when it's the easiest time to quit and give up and go backwards. So I think for me, that's a really good sign of this locker room and the culture that's taking place and the ownership that our guys are really taking in their work each and every week. And I really think we're going to see that play out through the second half of the season and beyond.
Coach, you obviously spent a great deal of time in the state of North Carolina. I know recruiting rules have changed a ton. With you all traveling up to ECU, are there any opportunities to take advantage of some recruiting situations? I don't know how well you guys are still recruiting that area, but just kind of enlighten me on what you can do to take advantage of being in that region, playing a primetime game, and then your past experience with the state of North Carolina as a recruiter. Yeah,
North Carolina does have really good recruits. We have a commitment actually from North Carolina. We're not allowed to talk about publicly, but number one, the best recruiting that we can do is playing on national TV on ESPN on Thursday night, because every high school kid in the country is at home because they typically are playing on Friday night and they want to watch college football. So for recruits all over the country, it's great exposure. Typically, whenever we go on the road, we will have a coach or two that will go out. This being a Thursday night game and our time of prep being so short, we're not going to go to a movie on Wednesday night like we typically would the night before a game that we're not going to play until the next evening. We would go to a movie with the players. This Wednesday night, we're going to use that time for meetings, offense and defensive meetings with our players. And so we've just kind of made a decision. We're going to keep all of our coaches in-house because of the short week. But, yeah, we'll definitely continue to get up into North Carolina. But the best thing we can do for recruiting is go out and get a win on the big stage Thursday night.
looking at East Carolina. Had a chance to watch them live a little bit Saturday because they went so late into the night. But they have an interesting defense, a much different philosophy compared to what you ran up against Temple last week. They'll blitz you all night long. How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, very aggressive. The one thing that you know is coming is the blitz. You just don't know who it is. And they do a great job. They're very they disguise very well with their blitzes, and they have guys moving in and out, which creates a lot of communication with your offensive line, your running back, your tight ends, your quarterback, everybody being on the same page. And if one person's off, then you got a chance to have a free hitter. And so they're aggressive on defense. They're a physical defense. I mean, Houston has one of the top offenses in our league, and they held Houston to around 270 yards total offense at their place. And so I think East Carolina's really confident with how their defense has been playing the last couple of weeks, and definitely it'll be a big challenge for us. Ultimately for us, we're going to have to do both. We've got to run the ball and throw the ball. We've got to be balanced. This is not a group that you're going to be able to line up and really just run the ball all night long. We're going to have to be able to mix it up and be successful both on the ground and through the air.
Obviously, with it being a short week, everybody is talking about adjusting and being prepared for the game from a physical standpoint. But what about the mental, and how do you adjust and make sure your guys are compensating for the absence in the classroom and staying on schedule, and that not being a liability for next week when they come back?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of challenges with that for sure. And just like with us practicing in the evening, that's sometimes where they would normally be studying for some of their classes. And so the big thing is we have a well thought out plan that our staff we've worked on really back in the summer. We worked on our plan for what this was going to be during this Thursday game week. But really to our players, it's like, hey, here's the plan, and now we need to execute the plan. We might not be practicing in the morning, so now you need to be doing your study hall, doing your work, academic work in the morning, since we're going to be practicing in the evening. And just getting the guys to kind of understand that and understand why we're changing some things up the way that we're doing, and then understand that, hey, when you get back early in the morning, Friday morning, we need to be in there in class on Friday, because normally Friday is a day that we typically miss on road games, where now they'll be able to be there in class this Friday. But ultimately it goes back to what we talk about all the time, that, hey, best is the standard, right? And everything that you do in the classroom, in the community, and on the football field. And so as long as guys can work towards that standard this week like they do every week, then they'll definitely be able to keep up and continue to excel.
Coach, thanks. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you up there Thursday night.
Great. Thank you.
Head coach of the Bulls, Jeff Scott. Vice President of Athletics, Michael Kelly, with us later in the hour. Stay with us. Much more to come on the USF Football Radio Show. Welcome back to USF Football Radio Show. It's a night game this week, and it's a short week. Thursday night in Greenville, North Carolina, the Bulls and East Carolina. And remember, homecoming, the starting time is now out. It's 7:30, November 6th, at home against the Houston Cougars. Vice President of Athletics, Michael Kelly, joins us. And Michael, I'm going to be the 12th guy in line to ask you about conference issues now. We've talked a little bit about it, and you addressed it in depth on your podcast, but still it's one of the big stories affecting USF athletics for the future, as 6 new teams are welcomed into the American. Tell us a little bit about the process and what it means for USF.
Well, sure. Obviously, it's been a years of change, if you will, but obviously very much so the last couple of months of change as it relates to college athletics. I mean, we were already dealing with name, image, and likeness. We were already dealing with the Constitutional Convention. We'd already been looking at a whole lot of things. And then this summer, really, when Texas and Oklahoma decided to make their move to another conference, that kind of caused all the conferences to some extent to really look at their membership, to look toward the future. And obviously, once we had some movement in our conference, that became the same for us. So, it was something I think that maybe 90 days ago no one thought would be this imminent, but obviously you've got to adjust and take a look at the situation at hand. So what we were able to do as a conference is to look, really evaluate on the whole horizon on a couple different objectives. Number one, you want to be able to stabilize the conference to a point where you're big enough that you're not vulnerable to these types of things in the future, that you can make sure you can keep your television contract intact, and not only from an exposure standpoint, but from a revenue standpoint was an important factor. When we lost some members, it also kind of dripped some sports underneath the automatic qualification status of things, and you want to make sure you, particularly with the kind of success we've been having lately around here, you want to make sure when you win the American that you're going on to the NCAA with an automatic qualification. And so all those things, when you kind of wrap it up into a lot of things, it kind of raised itself to, this became a very strong and strategic, aggressive growth mode for the circumstances that we're in, and it put us in a great place. It put us, again, allowed us to, everything I said, it helped us achieve those objectives. The other thing that was a factor is when we were looking at some members, potential members, even out west, that could have still worked really well for football, but it really would have been a lot harder on all their other sports for two reasons. One, travel, that don't get the chance to travel as much on a charter situation, and also just a pure cost of what it could have cost to go out there that often. And then also just the missed class and travel time that our student athletes would endure each and every week. So you got to look at it in its totality. At the end of the day, I'm very pleased with it, and be able to achieve all those objectives is really good. And our market has been a situation where you look at growth markets, you look at large cities, and we've been able to, again, manage that as well. And that's kind of what the American has been built on in its relatively young history.
Michael, as a student athlete, you got so much on your plate. Obviously, you have to perform at your sport. You have to perform academically. But then there's also such thing as being aware and being kind of a steward of the game or of the sport that you play. So how important is it to educate student athletes on conference realignment, etc., so they're aware of what's actually going on, and not just, hey, we're in a different conference, we're going to be playing different people every year? Does the university or does athletics take the opportunity to educate the student athletes on everything that's going on, or is it just a one-time announcement, things are changing, you guys go ahead and move forward? No,
it's a one-time announcement at the first part, when you kind of try to break the news so they learn about it is even before the general public does, and that's an important factor that we certainly got with our coaches and our staff to kind of make that news happen. But it does need to become an overall education process, something that we probably need to do an even better job about. But it's interesting this past summer, specifically in the sport of football, to be able to talk a lot about the CFP expansion and what that could mean. And we did have some good dialogue about that. And I think at the end of the day, when you look at even what's happened, what will happen in the conference, which we think will be 2 years down the road, this will give us time to be able to explain, be able to educate to all of our student athletes what will happen at that point in time.
We enjoyed seeing our interim president leading the herd of Thunder before the game on Saturday night. How do you read that ongoing process of the presidential search? Obviously something that will greatly impact USF athletics down the road.
Yeah, this is obviously a critical time for us as it relates to the leadership of our university. We couldn't be more fortunate than to have Rhea Law serving as our interim president right now. She has been around this school as a student, as a board member, as a community leader, and now as the interim president has been very helpful to us. Her first day here, she came to one of our head coaches meetings. She came to football practice that first day. She's, as you said, she's led the fight song of with the band this past weekend, and she'll be flipping the coin here at homecoming here soon too. So she's taken the right interest in athletics, wants to support us any way she can during her tenure, and what has also been clear to me is seeing the leadership of Mike Griffin, who's serving as the chair of the presidential search committee, if you will, and obviously the types of things that we've seen from all the board of trustees, including Chairman Will Weatherford, that it's been made clear to me, and it seems to be very clear in their statements, that athletics will play a major role in their future vision of this university, and they're going to help pick that right leader that's going to be someone that kind of is learning from what we need to be able to advance, and I'm excited about that opportunity.
You talk about Will Weatherford. He actually made that announcement at the groundbreaking ceremony for the indoor facility. Can you kind of, I know there's a ton of information on the website, but can you kind of update the fans and USF Nation about current milestones and what to expect as we close out this quarter and early into first quarter of next year?
Yeah, obviously we had that groundbreaking, the ceremonial groundbreaking just a day or two after we got formal funding and finalized the fundraising for the project, which is the first natural step in anything that takes place here. And then over the course of this last month or so, it's been great to get all the materials ordered. And as you know, from the being the construction expert that you are, just in terms of getting the permits getting the again, the materials ordered, getting everything kind of lined up, and it looks like within the next couple of weeks, all that starts to come to fruition here, which times out nicely. It's allowed us not to have to displace our football and track teams very much at all, to be on the turf field and still kind of maintain what we'll see. So we'll see a lot of the foundation work and the tearing up of the existing turf field kind of November, December, January, getting the foundation laid right and whatever type of utilities and things need to be poured in then a lot of the vertical construction being January through March, so to speak, through April probably, and then you'll see all the interiors being done over the course of the summer, so that when our student athletes are coming back here for the fall, the summer and the fall semesters of next year, we'll be able to utilize that, which has been the goal all along. So very pleased with our facilities management people here at the university, with R.R. Simmons, who's leading our construction efforts, and they're working very hard, obviously, not only to stay on our timeline, but to be good partners with what we're doing here, because it's not like we're just taking over an abandoned parking lot where you can kind of just start whenever the heck you want. When we're trying to find the right balance with all the activities going on there right now, we're grateful for that type of flexibility.
Michael, thanks. We'll see you up in Greenville.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Go Bulls.
Vice President of Athletics Michael Kelly, stay with us. Matt Hill from the Bulls defensive secondary will join us when we come back on the USF Football Radio Show. Bulls in East Carolina Thursday night in Greenville. It's a night game, 7:30 kickoff, so our pregame will begin at 5:30, and then the time now is set for homecoming. The Bulls in Houston, Raymond James Stadium, November 6th, Saturday night, and that will be a 7:30 kickoff as well. Matt Hill joins us, joining the Bulls as a transfer student, playing in the defensive secondary. You have been a busy man. You have played more snaps than just about anybody on this team. Mm-hmm. Things changed when Will Jones got hurt, certainly changed your situation, but this is still a relatively new position for you. The changeover kind of began at Auburn, but still, you were a wide receiver. How challenging is that to go from offense to defense?
It's just one of those things that you just got to take in mentally and just prepare physically. Coming into USF, I kind of knew my role in football would kind of increase. So while I was in the portal, I was just getting myself ready. And then when I got here, it all started with the coaches just preparing me on and off the field. And then just the teammates that I have just trying to get me better, because they knew that I was coming from receiver. So they knew I have some flaws in my game that I needed to work on. There still is some things I need to work on, of course. But other than that, I feel like it's challenging, but I feel like anybody could do it as long as they love the game and they work for what they want. So,
obviously with the transfer portal, and you being a guy who was already in college, started somewhere else, and then came to USF. USF's fans haven't had the intimate opportunity to get to learn who you are, as we've done for freshmen who this coaching staff or prior coaching staffs recruited, right? Where they take a look at you, they research you, they know what positions, they know your stats in high school, etc. So just give the fans an opportunity to get to know Matt Hill through your own eyes, so that we know who you are. Because what happens is just you see a guy show up on the field and start to making plays, you hear his name, but because you weren't recruited by USF, it's kind of like a disconnect. Would you agree or not necessarily?
I could agree to that, because some people, of course, take football differently. Some of them are true fans, diehard fans, so they do all the research and the players who's coming up. And some of them just, I feel like just kind of show up to the games and just support us because, just like how they're raised up. But myself, in high school, I played a little bit of everything: safety, receiver, running back, kick return, punt return. Got recruited as an athlete, 4-star. Majoring in communications here. I'm a senior in the classroom. Expect to graduate this May. Let's see. I was raised with my grandmother. Father's still in my life. I have 5 siblings, 4 brothers, 1 sister. Let's see. Grew up a lot at Auburn, matured because of the situations that I was in, been through a lot of adversity. That's kind of why I play the play I do now. I play with a chip on my shoulder. There's a lot.
What's the USF connection? How did you land here?
Coach Scott in high school, he was recruiting me at Clemson to play receiver. So once I entered the portal, he was really kind of the first person to contact me. So really, he was really like the only coach. So USF was pretty much my home from the time me and had a conversation because of like how he recruited me. He was honest up front in high school. He was honest with me while I was in the portal. He told me how I was going to be used here at USF. And I just kind of bought into the program that he wanted to build. And I felt like if I were to come here to USF, I would hopefully make a difference in the program, and which I feel like I am kind of doing now. So, you know, everything else is just up the hill, I hope.
You're one of those guys that coaches love because they've won everywhere they've been.
Mm-hmm.
And you come here recognizing, you know, that quite frankly, it's a rebuild. It's going to take a little bit of time. Did that give you any pause?
No, not at all, because when I was playing football in high school, my freshman year I went to a private school because the regional high school that I was going to, my grandmother didn't think I was ready, so I went to the private school, got a little bigger, and once I got to the high school, they weren't doing so good. They had only won like 2 or 3 games from freshman to varsity my freshman season while I was gone. Then transferred in, we went 4-6, then 8-4, and then we eventually went to the semifinals, but lost my senior year. So I've been in a program where it's kind of like turned around, and I've seen it. And here at USF, it's definitely turning around because of what Coach Scott has going on with all the other coaches, and just like the indoor facility. The coaches just had to buy into the players, and the players just got to buy into each other and just like really play as one on the field. So I'm sorry. Yeah.
Outside of your coaches and the support staff around football helping you get acclimated to Tampa and this team, which one of your teammates helped you get comfortable, whether it's on the field, practicing, understanding the playbook, or, hey, man, let's just go get something to eat, or it's a party, let's hang out? Who was that guy for you?
Really my roommate, Kristen Williams, because he was the first face that I saw when I walked into my room, first teammate. So ever since day one, we've been kind of clicking. And then Will Jones, we kind of clicked too. That's why I felt so bad when he got hurt. So, but we're still for each other there. And then really just the whole defense is taking me in underneath their wing too, like Wayne, Grier, just the leaders on the team, because we all want to win. And those seniors who've been here longer than me, they've been in this program longer than me. So of course they want to win more because they've been part of a team that wasn't doing so great, and now that we're doing better than what we've been doing in the past couple of years, they just really pushing us to do harder and just work harder in the weight room, on the field, and in the film room to take it down notes. Even if it's the smallest thing, they just want us to get better because they know where we're going. So,
what did that win mean to you on Saturday? I mean, all that work and finally a reward.
It felt great. I know Coach Scott feels good about it, and I know the rest of the team does, because after last weekend, it was tough. It hurt my heart. It hurt everybody's heart because of how good we played, and the outcome wasn't what we had expected it to be. So coming off of a loss like that, and we got to win, we definitely turned up in the locker room for a little bit, danced for sure, and then, it's just on to the next game. So win or lose, you just got to put in a rearview mirror and just keep going. So,
what's your mindset going into a short week on a nationally televised game? Some of your teammates are beat up. How do you guys obviously put this win behind you and quickly prepare for this next game to make sure you're fully, you're primed to go in and win a football game and don't leave anything from a preparation standpoint behind?
Really just lock in on our assignment. On the field and in the film room, just pay attention to the smallest things, because we're leaving to go to North Carolina on Wednesday. So we have today's practice and then tomorrow's practice. So we're getting half of the reps that we usually would get in through a whole week. So the coaches, they're making a game plan for us. It shouldn't be too complicated. So the players should already, we should already kind of be prepared for it, because it's not a lot of different things, but it's just all in the film room for real, just watching film, seeing what they do, how they do it, the situations, and then just going out there and just prepare for it like it's another week.
Matt, thank you for taking time for us. Good luck on Thursday. We'll see you up there.
Thank you.
Defensive secondary, number 1, Matt Hill. Stay with us. Sam and I back to wrap it up after this on the USF Football Radio Show. Welcome back. The Bulls and East Carolina coming up. Sam, it's the old story of what have you done for me lately? Nice win on Saturday. Can you do it again 4 days later? That's the Bulls' task. Not an easy one, but certainly a possibility if they continue to play the way they did against Temple.
Yeah, East Carolina may be the favorites to win this game. But what I've seen from this USF team is a team who's progressively just gotten better game in and game out. And I'd be hard-pressed to believe that if this team is a better team this coming week than they are against the team that they played against Temple, that East Carolina can keep USF from being the victors in this game. And I also take a look at the run game. We've seen what Timmy can do with the ball in his hands. There are not many teams who can essentially lose their quarterback from a production standpoint and then him not being in the second half and still keep the momentum rolling and go into a game and win. The ground game needs to put the remaining opponents for USF, the remaining teams they have on their schedule, they need to be on alert, because that wasn't just a fluff. It wasn't something that was a fluke performance. I think it was really authentic. I think they stood behind their offensive line, and they have 3 running backs that can really get the job done on the ground. So I'm excited to see what this team can do in this coming game. It'll be an awesome opportunity for several of the players to gain national notoriety, and I think Coach Scott will prepare this team to go out and be successful against ECU.
Bulls are 9-2 all-time against East Carolina, and they've never lost in Greenville. They're 5-0 at the home of the Pirates. We'll see if they can keep that streak going on Thursday night. Thanks for joining us. Back with another show next week on the USF Football Radio Show.